Hello everybody and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. It is time to begin the final stretch for Recipe for Turnabout. Yes, that's right, this is the final trial that we are going to be facing in this case. And it looks like we're finally going to nail the tiger because, yes, we kind of need him to prove what Mr. Armstrong was saying, and then, you know, just completely prove that he was the frickin' murderer. Because we know that Furio Tigre was the murderer, we just need to prove it. And we will get there, definitely. But yeah, I feel sorry for Gumshoe, I really do, because I totally get where he's coming from here. When you've got a job to do, and you're just waiting around to be able to do it, you get really agitated. I know I do. Because it's the whole... I mean, it's one of the things which, just when I'm doing anything, is just awful. It's like, if I know that I've got something happening in half an hour, I can't sit down and settle in to do anything in that half an hour running up to when the thing is happening. Like, it's awful. I mean, nothing's going to get really done in that half an hour anyway, but it's really frustrating because that is half an hour where I could actually be doing productive work, but my body just won't let me do anything. Because it just goes, yeah, no, this thing that's coming up is more important. Therefore, don't settle into something else because then you'll miss it. So that's why I often tend to be early to quite a lot of things. Because I get to about 5-10 minutes before the thing is meant to happen, and I'm just like, you know what, I can't sit where I am anymore. I need to get to where that thing's happening. And then I will feel a bit more settled. And generally I do, which is good. Because otherwise I think I would drive myself mad. Because often, like at work, you end up with a day where you're just like, well, I've got 4 things happening today, each at these different times, and I've got to do other work in between all of those gaps. You kind of have to get used to it, but still, it's one of those awkward things, really. But either way, he's on the stand. This is already a success. I think we're going to be doing a lot of hiding today. Because, yeah, he's just going to go at us. Which is like, oh god. He is definitely absolutely nuts. And I have no idea why the judge is going all Brooklyn on us as well. But I ain't seen nothing. Nothing. I know I've said that this is the weakest case in the game, and it is, by a long shot. Well, not by a long shot, but it is just the weakest case of the game. It's still such a fun case because of characters like Furio Tigre just being absolutely off their face nuts. Like, he's clearly deranged. I mean, anyone with that colour skin has to be deranged. President Trump. But yeah, it's like anyone that has managed to put that much fake tan on, because that has to be fake tan. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody with skin that is that orange. I mean, even if you put fake tan on it, it's not necessarily going to turn that orange, but it's like, it's the same colour as his bloody jacket. How do you get that orange? I mean, unless he is actually an orange, in which case I'm being very orangist. Because he's clearly an anthropomorphic orange. Like an anthropomorphic angry orange. Could have sworn that was a YouTube thing. Once. Might still be. Ugh. But, yes. This is going to be an interesting cross-examination, I feel, because, yeah, he's going to make it really difficult for us. Lovely, he's trying to get us into freaking debt. I mean, this is what happens when you're dealing with loan sharks. This is what they do. They actively try and send you plummeting deeper and deeper into debt to the point where you can't pay it back. Because then they have control over you, as they obviously did, well, as Tender Lender obviously did with Mr. Armstrong. Thankfully, I've never been in that situation, nor shall ever be in that situation, because just you do not go to loan sharks. No matter how desperate you are for money, you do not go to loan sharks or money lenders unless you know that you're going to be able to pay it back, because it's just awful. So yes, anyway, we'll get penalised should we press or present in the wrong places, so you do have to be very careful throughout this final stretch of the trial, because yeah, you could potentially really quickly be thrown out of the court and fail the case. But yeah, I think we need to press harder, because ultimately we've got a piece of evidence that disproves that he stayed in his office all December, and it's gonna probably rile him up quite a lot. But you see, the Tiger's alibi is bull, like absolute bull, and we're just gonna bring yes. That last statement was very important because, as I said, we have a piece of evidence. And said evidence is basically just going to go, no, you were there, you idiot. Don't try and hide it from us. That is indeed Glenn's calendar, because said meet with the Tiger. And there is only one person in this city known as the Tiger. So, yeah, I honestly don't know why people think they're going to get away with lying like this on the stand when they're facing down Phoenix Wright. Because even though often what we do is we bluff our way through to win a case, and it's kind of hilarious that that is the case, we still find all the lies. We kind of dig down, and just nobody can hide anything from us. Because we will always get to the bottom of it, because the truth will always come out. And, oh god, the judge is turning into Scooby-Doo. With the ruh-roh! That was a really, really awful Scooby impression. I wish I could do Scooby-Doo. I can't. I can do a few impressions. Not many, and they're not necessarily great, but I can do a few. But Scooby-Doo is not one of them. Maybe one day I will do some of those awful impressions for you, but I don't think today is necessarily that day. I would probably need to be a little bit drunk to need to bring that up and use that as a bit of commentary. And yes, I'm not really getting drunk for at least a little while yet. So, yeah, no, that's not happening. So, time to delve into another cross-examination. And yeah, he's just going to get angrier and angrier at us, which is annoying, but these things happen. And whilst we are in a cross-examination, I feel we might as well go into the Wikipedia entry for cross-examination, because I haven't really done much to do with this area of dealing with stuff in law, because obviously law is a very big and very complicated system, and obviously it changes depending on which country you're in. But, I mean, in most instances, certain things are similar. So, obviously, the main purposes of cross-examination are to elicit favourable facts from the witness, or to impeach the credibility of the testifying witness to lessen the weight of unfavourable testimony. Cross-examination frequently produces critical evidence in trials, especially if a witness contradicts previous testimony. The advocate Edward Marshall Hall built his career on cross-examination that often involved histrionic outbursts designed to sway jurors. Most experienced and skilled cross-examiners, however, refrain from caustic or abrasive cross-examination so as to avoid alienating jurors, because obviously if you're very angry, then that could actively turn the jurors against you. John Mortimer, the Queen's Counsel, apparently, observed that cross-examination was not the art of examining crossly. Indeed, the good cross-examiner gets a witness to assert to a series of linked propositions, culminating in one that undermines the witness's evidence, rather than pursuing an antagonistic approach. It's basically an essential component of a jury trial, apparently, because of the effect that it has on the opinions of the judge and jury. Few lawyers practice trial law or complex litigation, and typically refer to such cases to those who have the time, resources and experience to handle a complex trial and the commitment involved to complete a trial successfully. So, apparently, citation needed, few attorneys get the practice necessary to develop the techniques needed to do an effective job of cross-examining a witness. And so, citation needed once again, sometimes referred to as an art form, because attorneys need to know how to precisely elicit the testimony from the opposing witness that will help, not hinder their client's case. So, you've got to get them to reveal the truth, but in most cases, to reveal confusion as to the facts such as time, dates, people, places, wording, etc. And so you're constantly trying to undermine the credibility of a witness, if doing so will not cause the cross-examiner to be perceived as a bully. Obviously, there have been numerous cases throughout the Ace Attorney series where our cross-examinations have made us seem like a bit of a bully, because the person on the stand has kind of lashed out, or gone to the judge, and the judge has gone, "Oh, don't be so mean to this young girl, or this young boy, or this elderly lady." But sometimes that's just what needs to happen. And the other thing that you need to do is if you're discrediting a witness, you need to do it in a way that appears fair, because otherwise then it'll act against you, basically. And ultimately, the less the witness says and the slower the witness speaks, the more control they can maintain under the pressure of a crafty opponent. Apparently, citation needed. So, yes, it's all quite difficult. But cross-examination is a key component in a trial, and the topic is given substantial attention during courses on trial advocacy. And the opinions by a jury or judge are often changed during cross-examination if doubt is cast on the witness, and many other times a credible witness affirms the belief in their original statement, or in some cases enhances the judge's or jury's belief. Though the closing argument is often considered the deciding moment of a trial, effective cross-examination wins trials. And there's a whole thing to do with that, and at some point in time throughout the next couple of trials, I might delve a little bit more into the whole thing of common law, because there's so much here, and it is honestly nuts. You're talking about lots and lots and lots of sections. So at some point I'll probably try to delve into some of these things. But ultimately, we are delving into the matter here quite nicely. Because... Yes, well, according to Victor Kudo, the waitress was the one to put the poison in the coffee. We've already proved that Kudo witnessed 2 people that day. And yeah, this is just all that makes sense. The waitress has to be an imposter as well, because Maggie became unconscious immediately after the poisoning, and if it happened earlier, which it did, then yeah, and also she said to us that there was a woman in the restaurant, not a man, so it wouldn't have been Victor Kudo. So it has to be Viola. And I know he's threatening us quite badly, but to be fair, I think she'd quite like the tiger to be taken down. So, yeah, he's not getting out of this one. Because we've got Maggie's word that that is the case. So, yeah, Mr. T. Grey, none of your crap is going to wash right now. And this is what I've been saying all along, and yeah, Furio T. Grey is the only person who could have committed the crime, and ultimately the phony Glenn Elg was him. Because obviously he seems not quite the smartest person in the world. So he'd quite easily get the headphone in the wrong ear, which is something. And also the fact that he'd then try and pretend to be us, and that's all that jazz. Oh god, what have we missed out? Lovely. It's never bloody simple. Oh well, time for another bit of testimony. Joy.